Mm, Yeah. Actually, Nicholas, any questions from the previous sessions? I think overview part we have finished, and now we are starting with process modeling. So, do you have any questions from previous sessions?
Um, no major
No, in my
questions.
side, I don't have
Shekhar.
any question.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, even I don't have any questions, Shekhar. Maybe once we start hands-on, maybe I'll have.
Uh, okay.
okay,
So I
me.
think yeah,
Thank you.
whenever you get a chance, just to go through those slides which I shared.
Yeah,
So that gives you complete overview. I think functional overview you were expecting, right? So
yeah,
that helps you very much, and the scenario you can correlate with what I explained. So it would be very useful for you, yeah, while reading the explanation which I given.
sure, Shekhar.
Yeah. Yeah. So let us start with the process modeling. In the process modeling, first we go through the change request framework. Second, again, already I explained what is addition type, and just we see what is addition type and how do we create, where do we create. Edit statuses of the change request, and what is a business activity, create change request type. Business activity is something I wanted to explain in process modeling instead of explaining the earlier overview session. And change request type is how do we create the change request type and optional activities. Some optional steps are also there. Still, we can move without doing those steps. Anyway, we also look into those optional steps, and we start with the demo. So this is the overview framework diagram. Change request, how it will be created, and what is the change request, and uh, so in a change request, first we create some steps. For any change request type, whatever we are creating, we to design our governance process, to design our workflow process, we need change request steps. First, what is our workflow? We have to be very clear with that. So first, we submit our change request. In the next, this is the typical workflow part. We need to understand. In after submitting, it goes to the evaluation, and during evaluation, we verify the data and any modifications, any validations we have checked. Then we move to the consider and approval process. So this is first level approval, I would say. Approves once it is approved, it goes to the any modifications if required, and then it goes to the final approval. So during each step, if you see here, we are attaching one. What we are doing is a change request, approve change request, process change request, approve change request. Like that, we have. These are the steps which we should link with each step. So in the configuration level, we can see what exactly the check change request or approve change request or process change request means. Okay, so here you can see in the at step 1 level, if you see the check change request is the step during evaluation. So we have to attach some actions. So when you check the change request or evaluate the change request, what you should do is you should evaluate, and you will tell, whether it is agreed or disagreed. So if you agree, it goes to the next step. If it is disagree, it may be cancelled. That change request may be cancelled. So if it goes to the consider and approve step, during approval of the change request, you will be given with two actions, either approve or reject. If we approve, it goes to the next step. Otherwise, it go back to the previous step. So reject. We can design the workflow in such a way. So next step is the processing of the change request. If we do the processing, what options we get is there are two buttons we will be given with, like finalize the processing or send for revision, like that. So In the final check, again you can final check or approve the change request level. You can approve or reject the change request. So this is the way each step type and actions are linked together. And if you see in the bottom, another layer have been shown. So when you move from the submit to evaluation stage, so the status of the change request should be visible like a to be evaluated. So like that we normally design. Okay, here if you see approve change request, so to be considered and approved. So here again process change request. So we have to set the status for the change request to know where exactly it is currently and at what status it is currently. So we link appropriate statuses to the change request at each level. So here in the workflow steps level, so this is something different. Status of the change request setting and moving into the next level and doing some activation step. These are all includes a system level processes. So these are non-user driven steps, and so if these steps are driven by system only, so we have to define these steps. I mean, we have to segregate. One is user driven steps, second is non-user driven steps. So user driven steps are assigned to the users, and system driven steps auto run by system. If that is processed successfully, it goes to the next step like that. So whatever the steps here shown are, these are the system, these are the user driven steps which is linked with actions, and in backend system automatically set the statuses as exactly we want, and also in between some activation or replication if we want, we can do using a non-user steps. So this is how it is linked together, the change request framework, and in system level also we can see how it runs and all. Okay, so that detailed part we can see once we go through these slides. Just I mean again here if you see the addition type, I was talking about the addition type and addition like that. So addition you create under process modeling. So in system, let us see how it is being created. So if you go, so just want to show you how the change request steps are linked together. Maybe so this is the change request. Just I will show that framework how it is being linked and on. Maybe you would not have further doubts in understanding. So when I go to NWBC, at NWBC level, if you go to MDGM role, master data management for material, in the so I'm just trying to create one new material using this CR type. So let us try to correlate with this framework. So this is the change request I am trying to create, and let us go to here. So we have to specify the objects. Here the objects, and I just specified the object, enter, and next go to and submit. So this is what the first step is. Our in this particular example which I was saying. So this is a typical scenario. I submit this change request. So it goes to either of the steps as I want, as I design. So these step, first we are in step 0 now, and it may go to step 1, step 2, step 3 in the similar way, or if I want it differently, that can be designed as per our requirement. So let me click on submit. So I submitted my change request. Now if I see show my change request, so what is the status? I linked to the change request, changes to be executed. So which step I could have taken? Check change request I have not adapted. I just have taken differently. So these steps are not applicable in that case. So these 3 steps I have not taken, and changes to be executed I have taken directly, like processing change request. Like so directly I'm here in this step. So I should get some options to approve or reject. I mean, those step types also I can link together. So let us go ahead and see what actions I can do. So I have been given with these 2 options, either approve or reject. So I can maintain my material, and I just click approve. I just click approve. Hello?
Yeah, I should. Yeah,
you are there. You are there. Right? Okay, Lakshmi, you are there, right? Hello.
Yeah, Shekhar.
Okay.
Hello.
So yeah. Thank you. Just want to make sure if anybody dropped off, that's why. Okay. So now what I did is, in first step level, I have approved my change request. If you refresh, it went to the next status. So what is the status? It is linked here. This is a to be considered and approved status. And if you see here, the workflow log, you have completed 1 step for this. So who completed, who is the processor, and what step we have done, everything we can see. Yeah, these are all user driven steps. Here I was able to see. And if I click background steps, so all system driven processes. So it runs in the background. It's not required for us for the moment. So we let us focus on system user driven steps. So user driven workflow log this is, and we finished with the first step, and now it is in the state of to be considered and approved. So if I approve, if I go again, here agent is also again me. So I am the agent. So I will be able to see these options. So again I approve. If I approve, so the status of the change request has been set to the final check approved. So this is done. So in my workflow, I have designed simple 2 steps. I mean, first maintain requester level and approval level. So that was a very simple workflow I designed. So just for the explanation purpose, so you could see how the statuses are linked, and how the steps are linked, and the actions we have linked. So these are all the things we can link in a workflow level or BRF rule based decision tables level. Okay, so this is for the addition type. So where do we create additions? Additions in MDG IMG. You go to MDG IMG. Here in process modeling level, we have create addition types. Okay, so if you execute this, you will be able to create the additions. So for example, I mean, here in the additions type, what details we are mentioning. So whatever the addition type I want, I create, and for which data model this is applicable.
Hello. Sorry,
Hello?
Shekhar, there was an internet disconnection. I have joined again. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, please continue. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So this is the addition type, and so validity of the addition you can select either date specific or periodic specific. So if it is for 2 months, we mentioned this is in months. If it is date specific, so you can tell date from what date to other date like that. So this particular addition type is date specific and applicable to which entity types? If I click here, so applicable to accounts, account company codes, financial reporting, financial structure. So for all these entity master data, it is applicable. So similarly, if you see here data slices, so for each entity type, you can mention sequence, you can mention what number range to what number range I want to use. So this is all you can configure in MDG IMG at process modeling level.
Shekhar, one quick question. What is meant by data slices?
Okay, so if I have a number ranges in my in my finance data, for example, accounts, let us take. So I want to give number range from from 10,000 to 20,000. This addition is applicable. So that kind of link, I mean just a number ranges we can link it. So similarly 30,000 to 40,000 I want to have another data slice like that. I mean we can give the number ranges in slices wise. Okay.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Shekhar.
So next thing is okay. Let's move on to the next one. So edit the statuses. Edit statuses. So I think, I mean, in our sample workflow we have seen. So I have selected changes to be executed sometime and to be considered and approved. I have selected one time, and a final check approved. All these statuses we have used in our workflow. So each status, whatever the status you want to see, you can, for example, here in the first column, it has been mentioned all standard statuses from 00 to 99 are system given, I mean SAP given statuses, and if you see bottom, if they are in customized ones. So if you want to have a custom statuses, you can also have. So here in this column we give the description of each status. In the third column we have permitted processing. So this has got some significance you need to understand, and so there are three such. So if you see here, there are three options available. One is a no processing, second one is change of object list, so execution of changes. These three have different significances. So if I select no processing, so what it do is it won't allow you to delete the objects. So you will be not be able to move, I mean change the objects at all. Okay, so whatever the objects you attached in the change request level, those objects only you should be able to use, and you are in, for example, to be approved, I mean to be considered an approved stage. If I allow user to modify some data, that won't be I mean meaningful. Like, I mean at this stage I don't want user to make any changes. So at what no processing I would select. So if I want to allow user also to review and approve, so then I can allow user change of object list. So you are just controlling the objects addition or deletion or just change of the objects property in change request level. So if you see here, for this change request, this is one of the objects, right? I specified object and I cannot alter these objects once if the alteration is depending on these options whatever we select. So execution of changes means any you can just add or delete the object, and similarly no processing means no you cannot modify any of the details of the change. You cannot modify any of the details of the object, and change objects means you can do any operation. Okay, like that when there are three different meanings. So accordingly, if you are creating any custom change request statuses, you have to select appropriate permitted processing here. Okay. So these are the statuses. This is regarding statuses. So let's move on to the next slide. I have no questions till now. If you have any question, we can take.
Okay. In the initial stage,
yes, sorry.
The first step of creation of change request, which you have told. I mean, how did we decide whether to go to the second step or the third step? It takes automatically, or how did you do? I was just confused in the initial screen of change request creation. Initial step.
This one?
The first step. Yeah, first step.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
In the submit stage.
It should go to the step 1. Okay, this is all our design actually. See, there could be multiple ways of approval process. For example,
no, in the system you have shown, right? That one I did not understand, but because
I will. I mean, that is all design actually. That workflow design you have to do. So there are different ways. I mean, requirements in workflow. So if you see here, so my workflow is I just design like this. Go to next step. After approve, just so this is my submit step. This is my value changes to be processing step, and this is to be considered approve step. So if I reject here, what would have happened? The change request might have been ended here itself. Okay, I just end my my requirement. This is what I adopted. But I mean, if I don't want to end my workflow, what I could have done is I could have sent it back to the requester to withdraw or just again resubmit. So that is all our design. That is all our requirement. So just whatever I have shown is a very simple workflow, which explains a very simple process. I mean, straight process. So some requirements would be like this. Parallel workflows also required somehow. So for example, I have a case. This is the first step. So after completion of the first step, I may need to create 2 work items parallelly. So this will go to some department like finance department. This will go to the sales department. So they need to review my data. After completion of this step, I want to combine the decisions from the users here, and I may go to next step for final approval, and then I end my workflow. So for example, this is the way I need. So I have to link this appropriately. This design I have to do in my processing model level. So how we design is as a consultant, this is what they require, and how to achieve this we configure in MDG BRF table level or workflow level. Okay. So this kind of complex workflows also, normally this kind of workflows only would be there. I mean, parallel or series workflows, not only one step or 2 steps. it may be multiple steps. Okay, so just for example purpose, I have just taken one step workflow that behaves like as shown in this slide. Okay. Hello.
Thank you, Shekhar. Understood.
Yeah.
Shekhar. Hello. Yeah, and one more small concern. While you're showing it in the system, can you just do it a little bit slowly because things are going very fast on the screen, so I'm unable to understand.
Okay. Let me explain this once. So maybe if you have any queries, this is my requirement. What is my requirement? I should be clear. So submit. It should go to the changes to be executed, and at the final step, it should be it, to be considered and approved. So that is what my requirement. How do I design? That design part we will see. Just in system level, I want to show you how do you create the change request. So to test material create, I have just given the description. What is my change request type? I have to select. So this change request type has one workflow. This change request type could have another workflow. The workflow process may be different. So in my workflow, I have designed this. So I selected. Hello. Hello, Lakshmi, you able to hear me?
Miss, are you there, Miss?
I don't think. I think she got disconnected, Nicholas. Just to let us wait for a moment. Nicholas, you able to hear me, right?
Yeah, yes, I can hear you, no problem. But I mute myself because otherwise it will be a lot of
It's
noise.
fine. Yeah, if you have any queries, you can unmute yourself and just we can discuss.
Yeah, sure, I will do it. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, no problem.
Mr. Second, maybe we could call her, or maybe Naveen can call her.
Yeah, Naveen, are you there, Naveen? Hello, Naveen?
Maybe he's not on, not.
Yeah, let me ping WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's on. Hello? Hello, Lakshmi?
Yeah, hi. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Many
So just
obstacles today. Sorry.
yeah. Actually, I mean, we stopped there itself. We understood you got dropped off, so just I was waiting.
Very
It's
unfortunate. So many
no,
disturbances in Bangalore.
no problem, no problem. So I mean, if network connectivity is not good, it would be so
Yeah. Thank
no
you,
issue.
Sheikh. Thank you for understanding. Thank you.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. Here, what do we do is objects. We specify objects, right? I think I mean I didn't continue, so I was just I think you were there till this point, right? So I maintain. First, I select
Yes.
my
Yeah.
change. I give the description. I select my change request type. Then I give the comments, explanation. Then, if I move to the next step, here I need to specify what objects whether I want to create or change. So, if I add a row, automatically it is giving one material. This is with the dollar symbol. So this is a temporary key in MDG, which means it is for creation. Okay. If I click enter, so that is the object I specified now at this step. If I move next, so what do I have? I can submit. So this is my first step. Okay. Is it clear, Lakshmi? This part.
Yes, Sheikh, clear. Yeah, thank you.
So I have in my first step, what I did is I just specified the object and just submitted. So now if I go to show my change request, here I am in second step. So as per this, I finished this step and it came to this step. So if I so it is in the changes to be executed state when it comes. If you go to the workflow log here, you can see who is the processor for this step. So this is a dialog step. That means user interaction is required. And ready, who can perform this? So whoever is the current processor, here it is mentioned, they can take action. So if I click this, I can see the what options are given by user. So user has given user has been given with two options. One is approve and second is reject. So if I approve, it goes to the next step. If I reject, as per my design, I am telling, it ends the workflow and it states the so if I reject, the status will be set to the final check rejected, because I want to stop the workflow there itself. I don't want to send it back. That design I have not done. I had not done in my workflow because I already designed this workflow, so I know what it happens. So and also my requirement also like this. If at any stage, if I reject, I have to stop my workflow further processing. So let me reject. What happens? We can already we have seen that. If I approve, it is going to the next step and the status will be set to the to be considered and approved. So if I reject, it should end here itself. I'm rejecting in the second step level. So when you are rejecting, you have to mention the comments. Just reject. So reject. So here if I refresh, what is the status here? It is set, final check, rejected. So if you see, final check, rejected. So workflow has ended here itself. Okay, no further steps are possible. So if I click on this change request, what does it say? It just give the information. Change request 740 can no longer be edited because it is already final check rejected. Okay, so this is what I designed. One moment, please. So yeah, we have just designed this, and so it is performing.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
Shekhar, sorry to interrupt you. One small question.
No.
Once we create it, because the workflow is automatically created in that, or do we need to manually create a workflow and then create a change request?
No, there are two ways we have.
Okay.
One is
Okay.
creating a fresh workflow. Other is designing. SAP has delivered one workflow, that is a BRF plus based workflow. So this
Okay.
process you need to configure using decision tables. So that
Okay.
is only we will be doing in process modeling completely. In next slides we can see in more detail.
Okay. So the one which you
Yes,
have created for the test is already used, the workflow which is already available, right?
yeah, that workflow I designed actually in BRF plus. So
Okay.
that's why it is moving step to step differently.
Okay.
So if I
Okay.
want to insert a new step, I just need to modify my uh, uh, decision tables in the BRF rule-based workflow. Okay,
Okay.
I can
Thank you.
introduce. Yeah. So I think these edit statuses we have completed, and create business activity. This is also something we have to understand clearly. Here in business activities, before we go to the business activity, let us try to understand what is a logical action. So here, some logical actions, important logical actions, I have create, change, mass, upload. These are all logical actions we have in we do right in master data. So when do we use create? When you are creating some master data record, fresh new master data record, we have this logical action. When you are doing some changes or something, the master record must be available, and you are modifying some of the details for that master data record. So mass is different. So you want to create more than one material or any master data record in one change request. In such cases, we use mass. Similarly, we have some more logical actions like block customer, block material. Block customer, block vendor. That is another logical action. So in SAP MDG, we have logical actions given by SAP already. So these are the logical actions, SAP given logical actions. So if I want to modify, if I want to add new logical actions, also we can add, but mostly we are okay with this. I never met any situation like we need a new logical action. So these logical actions are sufficient. So here the logical action which we are seeing is a generic logical action, right? So it is not specific to one master data. It is not specific to one master data. So it is a generic logical action. So this is what logical action. So business activity is something this is something specific to one master data. So let me show in the system and explain how it is separate and all. So if you go here under process modeling, so this is all when we are doing all these activities and in this T code MDG IMG T code. Under MDG IMG T code, master data governance. Under master data governance, we have process modeling. And in process modeling, we have discussed about create edition type. And again, we already discussed about logical actions. Now we are looking into the business activity. So if you see the business activity list already given, so for example, let us take this example. BPPM is one of the business activity. It is for business partner mass maintenance. So business partner means which data model we have to give. So appropriate data model, that is the BP data model we have mentioned here. And business object type is something different. So for each master data we have one business object type. This is being used in data replication. So just let us park this detail. And here we mention the logical action. So whatever the logical action. So since we want to process multiple master data records in a single change request, I should select mass as a logical action. So I'm just whatever the logical actions already available, I'm just reusing in this particular business activity. So whatever the business activity I am creating is specific to one master data record. Okay. I think you understand the difference between logical action and business activity. Any questions? So similarly,
so when we can, sorry, a small question.
Yeah.
So it depends on the change request when we need to go for a logical action or when we need to go for a business activity. I mean, both are different, or
yeah, change request is different and business activity is different. So I have business partner mass maintenance here, for example.
Okay.
I can have multiple change request types for this particular business activity with same master data type. So here, if you see another here, create customer is another business activity. This is also for business partner information only. But if you see here, business object type, it is for only customer. So in MDG, if you see the overview slides, in MDG, BP data model is applicable for both customer and vendor. But business object type will be different for both customer and vendor. So here, if you see, customer is 159 business object, and for vendor 266 supplier. Okay. So to create the supplier, you need to use different business object type. To create customer, you have to use different business object type. But here it comes to the data model, both are same for supplier and vendor. For supplier and customer. Okay. So just this is just you are logically first you have defined logical actions, and then you further segregated into specific master data, and then for the creation we may need some different workflow process, right? So for create material, one material type need this kind of process, and another material type need this kind of process. Let us assume like that two workflow processes are here. So can we use one change request type? So it's not possible. So that is the reason we have to have different CR types, but same logical action or same business activity we use in such cases. So let us see. I mean, what is CR type? In next slide we will be going through.
Okay. Thank you.
I think it is clear about the business activity now.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now it is further segregation. Create change request type. So here in the create change request type, what details we are mentioning. So let us see that also in the system. So create change request type comes under process modeling. Under change request, we have edit statuses. Already we have discussed this, and now we have create change request type. So here we are primarily mentioning what is change request type and all. So if you see the workflow MAT01 is for which data model? It is specific to data model, and description we are giving. Here I am just mentioning whether any object should be added during the process or not. I mean, without objects, mentioning the objects also, sometimes I need to create the change request. So that's the reason I didn't mark this particular object required. And single object means this particular change request type is capable of maintaining only one material at a time in one change request. So what is my main entity is a material. So here if you see the workflow, this is the main workflow which we are talking about. This is a BRF plus driven rule based workflow. So this standard workflow is available in SAP. So but I mean, this workflow is a generic workflow. Whatever you design, it can process in such a way. So this is a generic workflow. You need to remember this generic workflow ID WS6080086. Okay, this workflow is being used in many CR types. See, here also I am using same BRF plus related things. Okay, so I mentioned these details in the change request type, and after mentioning the data model and workflow which is to be drive my process, I have to tell what entity types I need in this workflow. So this is only for material. So I'm just mentioning material is my entity type to process, and then here I am logically grouping. Here I am mentioning business activity. So if you see business activity MAT1, this is only for create material. This is not a mass maintenance. So let us see what is that. Yes. Let me go to MDG again in another session. General setting, process modeling, business activity, create business activity. So if you see MAT1, what is the logical action here? It is a create. And does it allow multiple processing? No, because this create means only one material you can create. So if you want to use mass maintenance or mass create, so which business activity you have to use? This business activity we have used. So it allows us to process mass material, multiple materials in one change request. So is there any example available? So let us go back and see MAT0A. Here I did not mark single object. So single object means it only allow us to process only one material. But here I have not mentioned any such tick mark. So this is also being driven by BRF plus rule based workflow only. And if you see what are the entity types, it also processes the same entity type. And if you see business activity, it would be different. So MATA, so process multiple material. So in business activity, MATA, I have given this business activity which allows logical action mass. So is it clear what is the difference between create and mass? I think why we need different business activities. I think now it should be clear. So same logical action. Why we need this business activity? So if you see MAT0A, the business activity is MATA. So similarly, if I maintain same business activity for any of the CR types. For example, let's move to some other. I've created one more CR type with same business activity. So here you can see ZM8001 is my business activity. So I mean is my CR type. So if you see this is for single. This is not one. This is my workflow. This is my workflow. So this is for this is not for one. And if you see, you go here, business activity. This is also being used same logical action, same business activity. So when I go to process when I go to this screen in NWPC, create change request under process multiple materials. This is for the business activity processing of multiple materials is for MATA business activity. If I go and click on the change request type, I can see two CR types. So this CR type can have one workflow. This CR type can have different process. So both processes could be different. So whatever I grouped under one business activity, those CR types I can see in my drop down. Okay. So here under MATA I mentioned two CR types. One is MAT0A and the other is ZMAT0A. So both are available here and both can have different processes. For example, MATA I want to give this process, and for ZMAT0A I want to have this process. So I designed two different decision tables, and it works for as I which I select, whichever CR type I select, that process will be different in the back end. Okay. Let's move on to the next slide. So these are some optional activities. Here you can see define priorities for the change request. So when you are creating a change request, it show you once in the first screen of the CRM to select what is the priority. So whatever I define, there are three priorities I want to have. This is generic. Actually, this is not specific to any CR type. This particular priority is applicable for every change request type. So this is a generic optional activity. If you see here whatever the priority I have created, all those priorities would appear like this. So I have three priorities. One is a high, medium, low. So in my system, if I go back and see change request, so define priorities for the change request is there. So you can mention within 1 hour, within 2 days, within 4 days. So whichever is applicable for your CR, you select. I mean, so it just makes aware of the next level approvers. So this is high priority, so I have to approve immediately. So such kind of thing you are attaching here. This is an optional activity. So this drop down, selection of this also is an optional. So wherever it is required, we normally do that. Otherwise, the next thing is define reasons for the change request. So this is specific to CR type. So for my MAT01, so if you see MAT01, if I select this MAT01, I can give what is the change request type reason. So here it appears those drop downs. So if I select MAT01, I cannot select since we are in multiple processing, right? These can be selected. So if I select this CR type, these particular CR reason why we are creating this CR type would appear. So if I click here, so all those reasons appear here. So customer request. So customer asked me to create this material. So cost specific reasons. So maybe this is all, I mean, logically speaking, logically grouping your material creation under what reason, why we have created. Some other reasons also, if I want to have, I add others here. I mean, I add one more row here and I mention others. So finally, after few days or few months, I want to see how many materials I created for customer request. So I can group all those based on CR reasons, and I can see how many change requests I have created and how many SLA are failed. Those kind of analytics we can perform using that. But this is an optional activity. So change request, define change request, reject reasons. Reject reasons. When I try to reject a change request, this is also specific to change request type. So if I say ZMAT 0A, so I can give rejection reason 1. So due to regulatory, whatever I mention here would appear would appear in my whenever I am rejecting. So for example, if I am rejecting this particular CR type, I have to segregate up to, so regulatory reason or fraud kind of things. So you have incorrect information, duplicate, like that we can have. So if I create here, so these would appear, these rejection reasons would appear in a pop-up. So if you want, we want to see one like that. So this is specific to this particular CR type. So I have to select this CR type, and let me create one quickly. Specify objects. Without specifying this object also, I can go ahead, because I said in my change request type creation level for ZMATA 0 MTA, I mentioned objects not required. This is not mandatory. If I check this, I have to mention in objects. Otherwise, I cannot proceed. So now I am not mentioning any objects, and still I will be able to submit my change request. Okay, without mentioning. So if I go to change, show my change request. Whenever I click on reject reasons, if I am rejecting, so I have to tell what is the reject reason, and it pops up me whatever the reject reasons I have created. So since it is a duplicate, I don't want to allow, so I create. So this categorization would help you in future to run the analytics based on the rejection reason. Based on why you have rejected. These many change requests are rejected. So tomorrow you will be having why we have rejected. So and you can take appropriate decision why to smoothen the customer master data creation process. So for that purpose, the segregation is required. This is an optional activity, but it would be helpful to categorize your rejection reasons. Okay, and so next slide, if I go. So this is an optional activity. Already we have seen the defined rejection reason. So create hierarchy version. This is applicable for the hierarchy data. So there are two versions we can use. Or, I mean, normally we use some hierarchy if we are creating in financial master data. We can tell like whether this is a draft version or approved version. So if it is a draft version, next level you can so you cannot use, or maybe this is temporarily created for the hierarchy testing purpose. Like that we can tell. So this is also a optional activity. This is all about the first presentation in the process modeling. Similarly, we have another presentation which talks about the BRF plus related workflow design. So maybe we can discuss in the next session. I hope. I mean, there are a number of slides, and also it should be it should talk about the decision table design and all. So it must be, I mean, somehow if we start freshly, it would be good. That's why let us take it in the next session, and in the next session itself, we complete those slides, and same hands-on also we can look into. So probably next time when we join, we can take 1.5 hours. So it would be good to complete at least the process modeling level, one demo, and further demos we can. I mean, once we finish one demo, maybe I will tell you one more example also to create the workflow. So that I mean, probably in 3 more sessions we can complete this process modeling. So that means 3-4 hours maximum, I would say. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Shekhar.
Thanks a
Thank you.
lot.
So when would be the next session, Shekhar?
Yeah, sorry, actually I want to inform you. So from Monday to Wednesday I have some workshops. It runs till late night, so I'm supporting Europe project, so it runs little late, like till 8:39. So I cannot take sessions. Thursday evening, quickly we can join at the same time, or we can prepone that to Thursday. I mean, prepone by 30 minutes. I think on 7 p.m. India time. Currently, we are joining at 7:30, so 7 p.m. so that we can utilize 1.5 hours.
So this you have this only for the next week, or you have it is continuous?
No, this is for next 3 days only.
Only for the next week, right? From Monday to Wednesday. Yeah.
Monday to Wednesday. Yeah, this is not.
So after this, maybe we'll have a regular daily basis classes, right? Every day, 1 hour, 1.5 hours.
Yes. We will be having. If you, if you, I mean, and also I got to know, you would not be planned to join on weekends, right? So.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, because weekdays I'll be occupied with office work and all, so weekends I need little bit time for practicing, and because I'm not getting time to open the document which you have sent to me.
Oh.
So I thought at least for one complete day, if I spare some time, I'll be ready for the next class, because I'm unable to. I mean, whenever you ask a question, it's difficult for me to answer you back.
And also, you are new. You mentioned somehow you're new to SAP, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So first, try to understand SAP basics, ECC basics. That would be more useful for you. And the overviews, I mean, the 3 slides which I shared with you, right? Those are also very helpful to understand master data related things. And this is, I mean, somehow I would say, somehow if you cannot look into the programming, even Nicholas also from functional background. So just process level, if you understand high level, so you can handle the projects. Anyway, you are not going to do any coding. You will be taking the help from Abacus. So just overview framework, I mean, complete framework related concepts you must understand, I think.
Yeah, sure. That's the only reason. Because I just want to concentrate because on the documents and all, because I'm new to this part, so that is the main reason I want to more concentrate, even utilizing the weekends also.
So it's fine. So Thursday, 7 p.m. India time, we'll be meeting again, and 1.5 hours we will be taking. So
yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
maybe probably next Thursday and Friday we can continue 1.5 hour, 1.5 hour. So
Yeah.
at least we can compensate one class.
Yeah, sure, Shikhar. Thank you.
Yeah. Nicholas, is it fine to you also? So to
Yeah,
join
fine.
half an hour
No,
early.
yeah, no problem, no problem. No, okay. No problem, I can do it, but only I would like to ask you a technical question. Here, master data MDG, it work for AFS application or IS retail application or not? Because we have, for example, in AFS or in IS retail, we have a site creation. This is master data for us, you know. We have a lot of stuff more than material management and sales distribution. So in this case, master data governance, MDG, it work again, you know, or what will happen in this case, you know?
Okay. You are asking about the industrial solution related MDG is available or not, right?
Besides, I know it work for material management and sales distribution and finance. I know it work for, but is it something will work for AFS? You know, the AFS application or IS retail application? Is it something? No.
No, I don't think actually. Okay, if it is in ECC landscape, it works, and also if it is in, I think it is also an SAP product, right? AFS.
Yeah, AFS, SAP, and IS retail. It is application, and IS oil, it's application from SAP. Yes.
Yes. So we also create materials or customers in MM01, or do we have any other T code for that?
No, we have another T code for IS retail, MM41, not MM01.
Okay, so the fields are entirely different, right? So you have to go for custom data model. So entirely you can create a custom data model. So if we see here, only 3 data models are available. I mean, SAP out of box. These 3 data models are available. If you see this is for material, right? Under material, we have number of views, like each data has got in each. I mean, I don't think every field which is given in the retail can be maintained using these entity types. If you want to use this for retail, same material, I mean, most of the properties must be same, right? In your retail level also.
No,
but
the screen is completely different. The screen is completely different, and everything is different. You know, it's nothing to do.
So yeah, then you cannot use this data model. You have to create a fresh custom data model. So this framework supports you to create the custom data model.
Oh, okay, perfect, no problem.
So you can create your process in this system. You can create your own UIs. Similarly, you can create your data model also. Everything should be a fresh. I mean, like you cannot reuse the existing things. You can only use the framework whatever SAP has delivered. You cannot reuse the things which are available out of box.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me. I will try to do it, and I will see how it will work. You know, for IS retail, for example. Okay.
Yeah, I can show you. I can share some documents. How do you create custom data model and all? For example, if you see here, I don't have location master. For example, I need a location master. So how do I create location master? Here, these are not. There is no location master in MDG. So what I do is I have to create a new data model for the location master with some name, and I mention all applicable fields, and I need to maintain the relationship between the entities. All these things we have to complete. Then only we can have process modeling is completely you can design for any data model whatever you create. So I hope, for your IS retail, you need a custom data model.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Sir. So we see you next class. We talk to you next
Oh,
class.
yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Have a good day too. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shikhar. See you
Thank
on
Thank you.
Thursday.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.